Edward Laos.
Welcome to Travel Talk, brought to you by The Hotel Guide, the global voice of luxury and boutique hospitality. Featuring Edward Laos.
Good morning, everybody. Edward Laos here, publisher of The Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. Really excited about today's guest. We were actually talking offline a little bit about some of her story and how she got to where she is. But Evelyn, founder of Marine and Vine, I'm really excited about having you on the show today. And how are things going in your world?
Well, there's a lot happening right now. I think after sort of a period of refocusing on being a caregiver with my family, I'm coming back to the brand with a new energy and a new point of view. Recently relaunched the website and recently increased our spa distribution footprint, and we're currently selling in the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, Four Seasons in Beverly Hills. So that was a huge win. I love that location. It's just iconic. So yeah, things are back on the upswing for the brand. Yeah.
You know, that's really great for those of us, for our listeners out there. They're always like, hey, well, who are you talking to, Edward? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then maybe a little bit about the company and kind of how you got to where you are. You kind of alluded to that a little bit in your response to begin with, but tell us a little bit about the company and you, and that way we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. So I am the founder of a body care company. We started in 2019. It took me about 2 years before I launched. I started with one product called Tahitian oil, and I basically created that concept while I was in the south of France. I was lucky to spend a lot of time down there at a certain point in my life, and we used to stay in a real microclimate down in the Luberon, right between Aix and Avignon, and it's super arid, it's super dry, super hot during the summer. And I started exploring French pharmacies for body oils, and because my skin was just so dry, and I came across the most beautiful products there that we didn't yet have in the US. And then from that point, I also discovered a really beautiful ingredient called Manoi, which is a Tahitian ingredient. It's a coconut oil that's infused with a Tahitian gardenia flower, and I just fell in love with the ingredient, really. And I wanted to do something that encapsulated that part of my life, that was also easy to travel with. It was a travel-based product, and then also give a beautiful home to this beautiful ingredient that I found. So my first product, Tahitian oil, was all of those things, like it's a spray-on body oil. It's 50 milliliters, so you can take it wherever you want to go. It's easy to apply. It's not a messy like screw-on bottle. Yep. So there are all these things and just beautiful packaging. I use French glass and French fragrance. So all these beautiful things came together, and it was just enough to start up a body care product, body care line. And I was just really not anticipating the positive response that I had back when I launched. I had distribution in another Four Seasons resort in Beverly Hills, and I've been sold in the Yellowstone Club in Montana, and the Mandarin Oriental Spa in Miami. So I've had these really top tier locations. I'm just so proud of what I've built over the past couple years. Yeah. Thanks.
No, that's really good. We talked a little bit, obviously being offline, the Hotel Guide, has been around for 33 years. So longevity is sometimes a hard thing to do. And to see what you did and when you started the company to where you are, and kind of the trials that you went through to get back to where you are, and the restarting a little bit about it. What are some big things that you as a business owner have on tap for the company? Or that maybe guests could be like, hey, man, I really want to know more about that brand and what you have going on. Is there anything on the pipeline that you have for the rest of this year or into next year?
We're really looking to increase our distribution footprint right now. So, and that's primarily on the spa and the premium resort locations. That market is super important to us. It gives us access to specific type of consumer that really resonates with the brand. We're also increasing brand awareness with increased sample sizes. So I just increased the sample size from 4 milliliters to 8, so that people can purchase that on our website to get to know the brand and to get to know the product a little bit more, and to have that experience. And then that also will carry over into our locations where we're currently being sold. So that's a huge point for us. And then also I'm working on smaller new product launches that would complement where our premium locations are, to be able to also increase our brand awareness and their ability for people to enjoy a different dynamic to the offering that I already have.
Oh, no, that's awesome. I love the fact that you're innovating already and you're looking at new ways to do that. The trial size, I think, is a great idea. It gives people a taste of what it is, and the ability to kind of want to have more. It's a little similar to what we're doing here with the podcast. I think 15-minute podcasts are just enough for people to know about products and to want them to know more about what's going on with who you're interviewing. So I love that alignment there as well. One of the things we also talk a little bit about here in Travel Talk is, I talk to a lot of business owners, CEOs, GMs of properties and destinations, but how important is leadership in what you do and how it drives you and your company forward?
Leadership's super important. I mean, I think people want to connect with a strong leader and with a strong brand. I think that's something that I learned over time. I think when I first launched, I really had intended to be really behind the scenes and not a front-facing founder. But I quickly realized that was that's part of the brand's charm, right? Is to have a strong brand story. And that's a huge point of differentiation for us in a really saturated market with all these huge, beauty conglomerates that I'm competing against. The most unique thing is a strong founder story. And to be a strong leader in that, refining storytelling. I'm fascinated by great storytellers. I meet strong leaders, and I am really almost studying how they're able to communicate their story and things about their their presence that I find that's really important, especially when you're brand building and introducing a new product into a market. Like I said, I love being around really strong founders and seeing how, they're able to work a room, they're able to tell a story, they're able to communicate a vision. I think that's also really important because that also helps to keep you as a founder grounded when you are communicating your story and exactly where you're going to have that, to maintain that focus, to move forward, to move the brand forward. That's huge for me.
I love that. I love the response there on leadership. It's so important when you're talking about being a founder of a business, for sure, because as you go, the rest of the company goes too. So this is a different question. You weren't prepared for this one, but this probably should be a fun one. What is your most favorite thing about creating this company and doing what you do?
I mean, I just have really enjoyed the process, and I think that's I'd love it. I'm not in the creative weeds, enough really, and I wish I had certain skill sets that I realize it's better for me to pass that off to the professionals. But I've definitely tried, especially at the beginning with product photos. I didn't know what to do. I was taking my initial product images, and some of my favorite product images were the ones that I took with my iPhone on the back of a colored notebook. And then I was able to, edit those, and those became the primary the images that I went to market with. And I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have like $5,000 to spend on like a product studio, photography setup. So, figuring out those small like wins for me, and then seeing how, people responded to that and they loved it. That was a lot of like wind under my sails, right? That's like, you kind of like get that affirmation, that confirmation that like, okay, I should keep going with this. Like, okay, like they don't need to know that I just took this picture last night and sent it off to like you printing, to get these things. But figuring out those, problem solving. Like I love that. Like I've loved like engineering this brand and putting all the little pieces together. That's what keeps me going with it, is that I just really enjoy the process.
That's awesome. And I love what you're saying, in that every great entrepreneur goes through what you just said in a nutshell. You always have the challenges, but a great entrepreneur is, how do you overcome those things? And so I love what you're doing with the brand. Let's switch a little bit from the professional side and talk a little bit about the personal side, because I always like to ask my guests about travel, since we are a travel talk. What has been some of your favorite travel destinations, number one? And number two, what do you got on your bucket list for travel?
I've been really lucky to go a lot of awesome places. At the beginning of January, I was in, this was 2025. I was in Africa for the first time. I was in Zimbabwe, whitewater rafting, and then just, doing safaris was huge. I'd see for me, the most like transformational trip though was to French Polynesia, where I went after my mom passed at the beginning of 2024. I had a lot of life changes at the time and needed to just like refocus. And I created a product called Tahitian oil, but I hadn't actually been to Tahiti. So it was a huge like gap in my, in my founder story, right? This was like, I didn't see it at the time. It was really weird. I just needed to like get out. But it was, I backpacked. I didn't think I could backpack in French Polynesia because it's this like, iconic honeymoon destination. And I went by myself, which was even like on top of all of that. So I island hopped for a month, and I went to Tahiti. I went to Rangiroa, which is part of the Tuamotu archipelago. I went to Moorea, which was like, that's like a life-changing destination, just gorgeous, gorgeous island. And then Wahine, which is another smaller island, a little bit off the beaten path, but stunning. And, you just really get to connect with the nature and just like the beauty around you. There's just, it really was a transformational trip for me. That was my favorite. And then in terms of bucket list, my family is from South America, from Chile. Both of my parents were born and raised in Chile. So I've never been. So there's another huge, like, life-changing trip that I'm planning. I've been like texting a lot with my cousin, one of my cousins in Chile. I need to see Easter Island. I need to see Patagonia. I need to see like the Atacama. I want to see flamingos out on the plains. Like there's so many huge trips. There's so much in South America. So that's my current obsession, I'd say, is just, like getting to South America and staying there as long as possible.
No, that's great. You actually, South America is on a lot of people's bucket list that I talk to. So you're right in line with some of those guests that I've had in the past. We have a couple of minutes or so left. What's the best way for people to find you or find the company information there? And then like any parting thoughts, any last things that you want our audience to know about you or the brand?
Our primary place to find us would be at marineandvine.com. We're also really active on our Instagram. If people want to connect with us there, Facebook, Marina and Vine, MARINE. ANDVINE. And then also if they're in the Beverly Hills, if they could stop in at the Four Seasons Beverly Wilshire Spa, it's a beautiful location. They're just my website is I've recently redone it, so I'm really proud of it. We're really just trying to connect with an authenticity that I feel is missing in the marketplace. You know, a lot of brands with that aren't bootstrapping, you know, come to market with like a concept that might be really similar, but they are lacking that authenticity, which I think is really important, and that I think you know, there's a big market segment that like craves that, right? We crave connection, and we crave story, and we crave something unique and interesting to you know, in this world of where we're just looking at screens all day. So I think people will really enjoy the brand, and I hope that people check me out online.
We definitely will, and I appreciate you being on the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure learning a little bit more about you personally, but also Marine and Vine and how the story happened. We'll definitely have this in our show notes so that people can find you and be able to kind of understand the brand. But Evelyn, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on Travel Talk today.
Thank you so much, Ed. It was super fun. I loved it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Perfect. To all of our listeners and readers out there, you know the drill. Follow us at thehotelguide.com. You're going to have to like and subscribe to this channel because we're just getting bigger and better. Evelyn's story is amazing. You will see her information in our show notes too, so you'll be able to follow up with her and learn a little bit more. But until next time, as we always like to say, travel and make memories. And everybody, take care, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.